Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here, and also thank you for being here. So I will present you Design Mexico, that it's a project made in Mexico, and how design is introduced in Latin America. So, well, I take this photo from Latina DAO, where I am member. So I am undergrad biology student. I'm finishing my career. I am doing my experiment thesis in neurophysiology. I also founder of Design Mexico, and I'm member of Deal Through Group in Latina DAO. And well, I am enthusiast and promoter for design and scientific dissemination. So what is design? Maybe one of you know what is design means? Yeah, Mark? Yeah, you can answer. Maybe what is your idea about design, because you are an expert on it?
It's using blockchain to decentralize funding and resource allocation to perform science.
Yeah. Also, it could say that it's a movement that wants to change, to do science, is a movement disruptive that wants to change the way to do science. So it is a trial publishing. So I don't know if you know that for doing science, you need to pay fees for publish your article, and also if you want to access, you need to pay another fee or subscription to the journal. So it is insane for researchers, and also the reproducibility and replicability. So in a research, the quality of your work is reduced in this reproducibility and replicability. Everything that wants to do the work that you are doing has the possibility to do the same with your methodology. But in traditional science, many of the works, you don't have access to the methodologies. So also the funding, in traditional science, we are lack of funding. And another interesting thing is the IP ownership, because also when you are a researcher in an institution, your intellectual property belongs to the institution or government that funding your project. So also we have data storage and access and architecture. You have free access to the experiment that are doing in the centralized science. And I add education is the main objective of Design Mexico for now. We introduce the students, the researchers, and academics to do design. And well, in this map, I summarize the design objectives that is accessible to everyone. The public infrastructure for funding is different. You have DAOs, that are decentralized autonomous organization, quadratic funding, donation, and DeFi. It means that in your project, you have the possibility to have money for sending or sending your investigation, for example. And also the owner of IP, and in this side exists IP NFT, that is a bridge between your intellectual property and cryptocurrencies, specifically in non-fungible tokens. So in that way, you can sell peer-to-peer your investigation and receive funds for selling your NFT, for example, and also grow. You need to be a scientist to do this science. So you only need to have the interest to participate in promotion of science itself. And the communication, all the data in the DAOs that are doing design are accessible. You can talk with them directly. They are communities that are so big in X, in Discord, in Telegram. So it's so transparent. no censorship, and no control by central authorities. It means that if you have a project that maybe for your institution or the government is not relevant, in this space can flourish. So it is a good movement. And I present you the decentralized science landscape. And if you can see, only there are 3 projects in Latin America. That is DeSci Brazil and Desire. That is a platform for publishing articles, and DeSci Mexico, that we are not here yet. But it's important to add that this ecosystem is growing very fast. And well, and I will start with science around the world. You can see the percentage of what are the and how is the participation of each country. And the European Union is the leader of publication in science, and the less percent is from another of these countries in this table, and you can see only one country from Latin America, that is Brazil. If you look more closer, in Latin America we have 1 researcher per 1 male labor force. So it is, there are no researchers, or they are not interested in doing science anymore because we don't have more incentives to do science. And in this report from UNESCO, you can see that in Latin America and Caribbean, only 2.2% is growing in population. So we don't have more researchers. And well, I take this photo for World Bank, so you can see more clearly how the government is invest in science in Mexico. In Mexico, only we have 0.3% for doing science. It's nothing. And it's not the worst. You can see in the next slide how it's distributed. Well, so we need to introduce DeSci in Mexico because we have maybe the same problems that other countries, but the first one is financing. In Mexico and around the world, I'm sure, there are a lot of competition, but it's so stressful for academics and researchers to do that because they invest a lot of their time looking for funding that doing research itself. So, and also the replication, there are no reproducible jobs. And if you read some articles from Mexico, I don't want to say in Mexico is everything wrong with science, but for example, you can access to the methodologies in general, globally, you can access. In Mexico is words. And the competition, the academics only wants to a place in a university, and they are not focused or interested in doing quality research, only have a place to do research or given money. And it's sadly because they need to stay focused on doing quality research. And science is inaccessible. If you want to have your reputation, you need to publish in relevant journals, and it is in English. And it's not bad, but the population in general doesn't have access to do because they doesn't speak English, and they are not interested in Mexico. The government is not interested in disseminate the scientific fields and research. But, well, in Mexico, they are spending more in operations, less on research, and also, if you can see this amount, it's supposed to be directed in research, but no, only 0.1% is directed to CONACYT, that is organization that distribute this budget across all the universities in Mexico. And the other percent, that is 579%, is directed to companies in Mexico that are not doing nothing from research, only for operation, that is, for example, the Ministry of Energy. So you can see how the money is directed, and it's too bad. And in Mexico, every sexennium, we change a president, and this sexennium, we had 32% decrease in the programs for funding projects. And also, actually, only exist three programs to funding investigations. Well, and another graph, you can see we occupy the third place, the world place, in the OECD members, that is our Organization for Economic and Development, and we don't have enough money, and you can see that it's a really, really big gap on it. And it has to be also with the postgraduate studies in Latin America, and I made this comparison with OECD and Mexico, and for example, we have 23% in higher education, and high technical programs, 92% versus 76%, and only 1% of the researchers that are in OECD are doing doctoral programs. And I put these 5 countries, and Mexico is lower between them. Well, also I want to talk about Latin American scientific communication. In Latin America, we had four journals where the researchers publish their articles, and there are not specific areas, it's in general, but we can see in Mexico there are a lot of plagiarism. There is no declaration of conflicts of interest, and it means, no, it have a lot to no, it has the, sorry, I'm so nervous, so it has, I will talk about Mexico, for example. No, I don't want to say my institution, but thinking about government, if they gave the money, they told you what exactly to do with this research. So you can do anything, and you will get in trouble if you want to do another thing that you will put initially when you are looking for funding, for example. Also, there are a distortion in the definition of authorship. It means that maybe you are not in the field of the work, but if you, I don't know, if you are the secretariat, for example, and you want to increase your level, in Mexico, they can put your name in this work, even if you don't have experience on it. And also, well, we don't have visibility of Latin American publication because it's in Spanish, and this is another problem in science in Mexico. We need to create a journal that is another purpose of Design Mexico in Spanish, but with high impact globally. So, well, and I will present the Design Mexico project. So we're a community of students, researchers, and programmers in science. And we are focusing the scientific dissemination, onboarding scientists in decentralized science that is so difficult because they are so skeptic with the science. And we are promotion of the use of blockchain tools. We are doing courses in the university, in the university where I came. And also we are explaining what the existing DAOs are and how they can involve in these DAOs. And also be a project incubator. It means that we help to the researchers to direct their investigation in the DAO existence to be financing. And now our principal purpose is create a research data warehouse platforms that solve health problems in Mexico. First one is women's health, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, psychiatric illness, as well as data, sustainable floor management, and we are working on. And we have our roadmap, and this is our first conference, international conference, and also we are going to participate in the ETH Dam for doing a design project. And we are, I am from WAP University, and we are doing an event from design. And also we are creating a decentralized science podcast in Spanish. And we are developing our website, but we need more funds for doing that. And we are starting with the list of underfunded areas in Mexico. We are doing a research for directed the funds in these areas. And we have a project about mosquitoes. I don't know if you know these plants, but are parasitic plants. And we want to sampling in urban trees and recollect the seeds for study the bison, and maybe the bison has application for Alzheimer, for example. We are working on, and well, we are a recently community. We start in October the last year, and we met the old gangster, the science in Berlin. We met all the team of Molecule, and also Beta DAO, Crea DAO, Cerebrum DAO. And we participate in the hackathon in ETH 5 de Mayo in Puebla, Mexico. We put for first time in Latin America the track for these science projects, and we gave $3,000 for prizes, and we had a great results because a lot of people that came in the hackathon, they didn't know nothing about blockchain and of course for design, and they built 7 projects, and though 2 projects are starting the startups. So we are so happy for that. So I think it's everything for my part. There are the reference. And thank you for your participation. So if you have some questions, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
What's a typical amount of funding you need for a particular project?
Yeah, but you can put your...
Sorry. What's the typical amount of funding that you need for a project? How much funding do you need for a project? How much money do you need?
We don't have any money yet. We are looking for a JITCON rounds, and also for this project, we are doing some courses for earn money. But we are in a future ask for our project. It's like, I don't know. We didn't think about the money now. We are recollecting samples and then we will check how much we need for start with the bison extraction. But we need to talk with our chiefs in the laboratory. So I can answer now this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
So thank you as well. Just to understand, how does the validation of the work happen? So if it's decentralized, to what extent do you have the peer review mechanism that normally scientific journals and so on guarantee for? So how does that get checked? Who signs off on the work?
Yeah, it's directly in the community. You have senior reviewers. The difference between traditional science and this side is that you contact directly with them, and you can follow your application, and even is not longer. In traditional science, you spend 1 year to receive a response, and in design is not happen. You receive a response very quickly, and you have why they maybe don't accept your work, you know? So I think it's better in design because the reviewers has an incentives. And in traditional science, the reviewers doesn't have incentives, and they probably don't do the properly work, you know? I heard some cases when, for example, in my faculty, there are researchers that are doing women's reproductive health. They are taking samples from women with BPH, and she sends an big project, an interesting project, but the protein that she is used is very common in the research. So the reviewers said her, if you put in Google the protein, there are many works, so your work is not interesting, you are not receiving the fund. So maybe it's not too good that. So I think this is the difference. You can receive a response very quickly, and also the seniors or the investigators that are curating your research have incentives. So they are doing a better work, I think.
Well, if not, well, thank you so much again, Pamela.
Thank you so much.